Fuel is the official podcast of the 434th Air Refueling Wing. Join us for airman connections, leadership insights, mentorship, and happenings mixed with some fun and humor. Please understand that the views expressed in this podcast are not necessarily the views of the U.S. Air Force nor the Air Force Reserve, and no endorsement of any person or business is ever intended.
Hello again, and welcome Grissom members, family, and friends. This is the Fuel Podcast. I am Chief Nathan Parks, and as always with me here in, now we've almost got like a studio going.
It's getting close.
Yeah, it's getting closer, is Tech Sergeant Josh the Dream Weaver. So Josh, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was good. I definitely ate too much. I wore jeans. That's a horrible decision to Thanksgiving dinner.
That's tactical air.
Yes,
tactical air.
Sweatpants are needed.
Yeah. So I like to, if you've heard me talk about this before, is the average American gained 7 pounds between Thanksgiving and Christmas, or Thanksgiving and January 15th that they'll never lose. Like the average American over the age of 35.
You sure? That seems like a low number.
Yeah. The studies are anywhere between 5 to 12 pounds. And so, it's somewhere in there, but I told someone the other day, as I said, I took the American version of COVID because I got COVID and then gained 15 pounds. Like I lost 0 weight, I gained weight. I don't know what happened. So that's the American version of that. So Thanksgiving, hopefully you get time to recharge. Hopefully you guys got time to recharge and spend some time with family. And I tell you, man, there's a lot of crap and just crappiness that came with COVID, but some of the goodness that came with it is I feel like we appreciate these gatherings a little bit more. I feel like we appreciate the time that we get to spend with our family a little bit more, and the time that we get to spend with each other, and simple things like seeing each other's faces. You and I talked, there's a lot of stores that were closed on Thanksgiving that usually aren't. And
yeah, I was a little surprised. Normally Black Friday sale is like 6 p.m. and my wife will be out the door.
Yeah.
Nope, not this year.
Yeah.
Almost everywhere was closed on Thanksgiving.
Yeah. And so I think some of that is just that valuing time and putting a little more goodness back from the COVID piece. And so if there's anything I guess we can take away from it positive would be that we do enjoy spending time with each other. And so as we move forward and we move into this December UTA, we hope that's what you guys get to do. And one of the things that COVID also taught us is that we can be super flexible with what we do and still get the mission accomplished here and still get the job done. So I would encourage you guys to be creative, spend some time with each other, do something that you haven't done before, and build some value into the team. We've got, on base, the Airman and Family Readiness Center has all kinds of programs that you can get your team together and go over and help somebody else out, from everything from the kids' Christmas party to Toys for Tots, the Angel Tree. And go get your gang together, go get lunch somewhere, and then stop by and everybody pick up your favorite toy or something like that and bring it back and donate it. I tell you, there's just a lot of value in taking care of each other. And a lot of a goodness that comes with taking care of each other. This week or this podcast is pretty neat. We introduced Colonel Kuehn. For those of you that don't know him, we'll get to it better to know him. He's the new vice commander here. He's not really new anymore, but you get to know him a little bit better with this one. But we start having a conversation that's going one way, and then all of a sudden we all start talking about the services that are offered here on base and how us as leaders and us that are here, quite a bit, we use those services all the time. And it kind of breaks, hopefully, that some of that stigma that, hey, if I ask for help, if I go get help, if I want help, then my career's shot. Because, you got the vice wing commander and our PA rep and our the command chief and Colonel Pemberton will tell you the same thing. We're all reaching out, and there's times where we all need help, and especially around this holiday season. And we've had a few suicides this year, and we've had some tragedy and everything. So really keep an eye out, keep your head on a swivel. This is the holidays is one of my favorite times. I know, Josh, you and I talked about, we put our Christmas tree up, I think November 1st, which you thought was blasphemy. And
I wasn't very happy that my Christmas tree went up Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
Yeah. So we are celebrate Christmas for at least a couple months. Now, ours comes down like the day after Christmas, but
as will mine.
yeah, but I love the Christmas music. I listen to it on the way to work. It's playing in my office. It's playing in our house. And so hopefully you guys are having some Christmas parties. You're having some Christmas gatherings. Even if you don't, grab someone that you've maybe wanted to get to know a little bit better out here and go out to eat and celebrate and be smart, be safe, and hopefully you enjoy this little interview with Colonel Kuehn, myself, and Josh. All right, welcome to our special guest. He's been here for a while now, but haven't had the chance to sit down. We've tried to have this conversation several times. Welcome, Colonel Frederick Kuehn. So welcome, sir.
Thanks, Chief. It's good to be here. I'm glad we finally made this happen.
Yeah, for sure. So I think first and foremost, what we need to do, because I've heard it pronounced 1,000 times, is how do we pronounce your last name?
It's Kuehn.
Kuehn. So you don't want to be called Kuhn, or it's Kuehn.
Yeah, I've heard it a million different ways.
Okay.
My cousins don't even all agree, like all the different branches of my family.
That's okay.
Also, the original German, we both spell it and pronounce it wrong. So I will answer to almost every possible iteration, but it's Kuehn.
Okay, awesome. Kuehn. And so you said German background is pretty strong family.
Yes.
German ties, or you go back to Germany at all? And
I've been back. I haven't met my family back there. There's still a few running around, I think. But yeah, my grandparents on my father's side immigrated, so I guess that's second generation.
Yeah,
on the one side.
And then where are you from? Like, where are you from originally? Like, where'd your grandparents immigrate to?
New Jersey.
New Jersey. So you grew up there in New Jersey?
Yep. Yeah, up through high school, and then did college there as well.
I didn't know they had colleges in New Jersey.
They do. They have
things that we learn on this podcast.
Just a couple.
Yeah. So what college you go to there in New Jersey?
I went to Stevens Tech, which if you're not an engineer and you don't live on the East Coast, you probably never heard of.
Yeah, I never heard of it.
It is the second oldest engineering school in the country after West Point.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So that's you have Stevens Tech, and then I'm trying to remember Colonel Pemberton's college he went to. Manchester. It was like Manchester University at the time, or
I think it was Manchester College at the time. Yeah. Now it's Manchester University.
Yeah, so we've got some you guys up there at the top, you get some degrees that are little out of the way colleges, which is awesome.
Yeah. Well, I went to grad school at USC, South Carolina, partially because I needed a football team to root for. So that's one that I think probably people have heard of.
Stevens Tech doesn't have a big football team, huh?
Not since 1958.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So they played seven man in 1958. So how about your family? You tight with your family? You got a large family?
Not a huge family. So in terms of my nuclear family, it's me and my wife. Mm-hmm. I got a brother and a sister. She's got a sister. We've got some brothers-in-law, some sisters-in-law, some cousins, a whole bunch of nieces and nephews.
Awesome.
And like we love being aunts and uncles. Yeah. We joke around like it's like you get to skip straight ahead to being grandparents.
That's right.
Without going through the trials and tribulations of having to be a parent. And
when you're way younger and way cooler, you can do more than
anyway.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So any family traditions, like as we're in the holiday season now, any family traditions that you're like, this is kind of unique to us?
I don't think so.
No. You guys have a big Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, any of those big ones where your family gathers together?
We do. So my dad was a reservist too. And, we don't always get holidays, being military, being reservist, being an airline pilot. So in terms of growing up, holidays were often displaced. I'm not sure I knew the exact date of what the number of holidays were. until I was older, and now we try not to travel over the actual holiday periods.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll do something awesome for Thanksgiving in DC, which is where a lot of our friends and some nieces and nephews are. So we'll do that, and then I'll see my actual parents and sister and brother and whatnot some other date.
Yeah. So DC, that's your home right now?
It will be next week.
Yeah. Yeah. So closing on a house there, and and so going to live in the downtown area.
Yep.
I guess that's all there is for DC.
In Kalorama, which is close to the center of DC, but nice neighborhood, a bunch of embassies and stuff in that area.
We'll forward out your address to everyone. If you're in DC, you can stop.
Yeah, perfect. Come on by.
Yeah. What kind of hobbies you have? Like, what do you like to do?
So, my wife Ellen and I, we love being outside. We love reading. We've got a family goal of one new national park and one new country every year.
Oh, wow. Nice.
So we love to travel. We love to get outside and do stuff. And then you'll hear nieces and nephews a lot. Yeah. We love hanging out with them.
Josh has got the same goal. It's just one new county. He's trying to get a new county every year.
Can confirm. Yep.
Yes.
Baby steps, right?
Yes,
Like,
he's working on the counties.
Crazy.
Then he'll work on countries after that. So, so what do you say you do around here? Like, what is it that you do around here?
So my message to all our airmen basically is like, I work for you. It's not always going to feel that way. I promise that. But so I'm here to take some things off the commander's plate. I'm here to give the commander and the leadership team a little bit of space and a little bit of capacity that they wouldn't otherwise have to get out there and meet our airmen, get to know our airmen, take care of our airmen, and allow the commander basically to be in two places at once.
So your actual title is the Vice Wing Commander.
Correct.
But, like this week, you've been the Wing Commander because Colonel Pemberton is out. So your duties call upon you to be a Wing Commander at times. So what got you to this point? Like, how'd you end up here?
That's a great question. So I won't go too far back. No, I will. I'm going to go all the way back.
All right.
Little kid, 4 years old, first flight on an airplane. Decided that this is what I wanted to be and do. I wanted to fly airplanes, see the world. And that took me through high school. That took me through college, an ROTC program. Got me through my first few years of active duty. And somewhere around 28, 29 years old, I realized that making your life plan as a 4-year-old may require some future updates. So the first year that I was off active duty and as a reservist, I took some steps back and thought about kind of what do I really want in addition to flying airplanes, which is still pretty cool and I still enjoy it. And I started doing some other stuff, did some humanitarian work, did some engineering work, helped one of my buddies start a small business. And kind of what it always comes back to for me is like, it's all people, and it's staying engaged, it's continuing to learn, it's continuing to grow, and finding a place where I can add some value that whoever else might take that role wouldn't add. So as a reservist, did some contingency response stuff, which is pretty cool, like the CRG mission. Made some debatable life choices that took me to DC full time. I don't want to say it's a bad choice because it was in DC that I met Ellen. And that's the best decision I've ever made in my whole life. Did a little bit of squadron command, did a joint assignment, almost all of this as a traditional reservist. And then had an opportunity for 06 and to look at some positions. And it came back to, again, like, where's the place where I can go, make a difference, take care of airmen, and utilize that skill set for the benefit of our people.
Yeah. It's so awesome. Like that 4-year-old, was your dad a pilot?
No. So, well, yes and no. my dad was a private pilot.
Yeah.
He wanted to be a military pilot. And back in the day, if your eyesight wasn't 20/20, you couldn't go to flight school.
And there was no LASIK.
Yeah. And so, instead of being an Air Force officer, he was an Army officer, did logistics, was an infantryman, and spent most of his career in basic training.
Okay. And but it's interesting too to me, like 4 years old, you make this decision and here you are, a pilot.
Right.
And your civilian job, which we'll get into, is being a pilot.
Right.
And so you've sustained this dream, but yet you went to school for engineering.
Right.
And not to be a pilot. Was that just hey, I probably better have a fallback plan here, or?
So, I don't know if I even knew that there were academic programs in aviation when I applied for schools, but I have found, so my graduate degree is not engineering, and I also got a degree in history in undergrad. I found that the more things that I learned, the better prepared I am for everything. And engineering is a really awesome background. It's a way of thinking. It's a decision-making and kind of thought organization process as much as it is any sort of technical skill set.
So walk us through that decision-making. We have a lot of airmen that are out there that maybe this is all they've known, just like what you were talking about is here's New Jersey. I didn't know that there was, pilot programs or whatever out there. And can you walk us through a little bit your decision on Grissom? Like, why here?
Yeah, absolutely. So Colonel Pemberton and I have a mutual friend, mutual colleague. That helped in terms of something that I've learned when you're looking for jobs is the job is good to know about, but the person you're going to work for and the leadership team and the culture of the organization is more important. So I was looking for a good leader to work with. I was looking for a good team to join, and I was looking for those were the big things. Good leader, good team. And it's pretty awesome for me to get to do a different mission set than I did through most of my career. I was C-17, so I was airlifter. Contingency response was a little bit different, and get to really immerse myself in the air refueling and some of the special missions that we have here is pretty awesome.
So I'm going to take you down the story. We could cut this out, I guess, if you want. But your first UTA here, you say, all right, I'm going to Grissom. Hadn't been here.
Yep.
Right? So land in Indianapolis, get off the airplane. You know where this is going.
I know this story, yep.
You land, you get off the airplane, you grab your bag. Here you go. Walk right out. Jump in an Uber, and you say, Grissom Air Reserve Base, please.
Yep. And that went well.
Yeah.
Getting here was fine. It was not a problem at all. The problem was on the other side, and I had the staff car available while I was here, so I could get around. When it was time to go home, there might be taxis here, but I couldn't find one.
Yes.
There may occasionally be Ubers here, but not on any
purpose.
kind of day that I found them to be available. So yeah, the first time I was out here, I had to hitch a ride back with the boss down to the south end of Kokomo, where I was finally within some Uber service area. So yeah, anybody who rolls in here is like, oh man, this is not the level of infrastructure that I was prepared for.
It was
I've got some
comical.
empathy there.
Yeah, it was comical to watch that unfold. Of like, I'll just catch an Uber back to the airport. Like, yeah, all right.
Let's see how that plays out.
That's a great plan. Like, let's see what happens with that. So you've been here about 4 months, 5 months maybe.
End of June. So I'm not going to do public.
And
now.
it's no reason to. And then you had a few things in there that you had to do and whatnot, but what's your first impressions of Grissom?
So great team. We talked about the location,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like it's a little bit more out of the way than I was logistically prepared for the first time. But yeah, great team, great sense of mission, great history and tradition. It's something I love about the reserve and guard, the reserve components, in general, is you go to a base and there are people who are like, yeah, my grandfather flew that airplane.
Yeah.
My grandfather maintained that airplane. Like my grandparents helped build this institution.
Mm-hmm.
They, Colonel Pierce promotion ceremony the other day. He's like, yeah, but Uncle Bob did the plumbing for this building.
It was his last project before he retired. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's just awesome, right? That's reserve units in general, but Grissom seems to have something a little even more special. I think probably due to the remoteness. It's a little bit harder for some out of area TRs to get here, and that builds that kind of sense of cohesion a little bit. And there's a lot of people that grow up in Indiana, leave Indiana, and then come right on back.
Yeah. Yeah, it draws you back. One is Josh the Dreamweaver here.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to me, and I don't think it's ever lost on the command team that we have people from 32 states that drive past other reserve bases to come here to serve. Are you starting to feel that?
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that, right? I've talked to a few people over the last couple of months I've been here who will list the bases they drive past to get to a team and a unit that they love when they show up here. And that's just awesome.
What's some of the goals that you have for here at Grissom? Maybe for us or maybe even for yourself. Like, what do you hope to accomplish here?
Yeah. So for me, what I want is to know that there was something that I brought to this team that would not have been here if they filled my position with another qualified person. Mm-hmm. All right. There's plenty of people who are qualified to do this job. And I think I bring something a little bit different than they do. Sometimes that's perspective, right? I spent some time in DC. So sometimes I can take things from the big DOD or the big Air Force or the AFRC level and put it in better context than somebody could if they'd spent their whole career in the unit level. I think a little bit of perspective from some things I've done in the civilian world too. And most importantly, I try really hard to take the time and listen, and you can't do what's right for people if you don't understand where they're coming from. And that's a commitment that I made when I was the first real job in addition to flying I had in the Air Force as a captain. I was a squadron scheduler, and I made a promise to myself and to all our people, even though they didn't know it, because I mostly meant it to myself, that I was never going to be that guy who calls you and tells you you're the last person unless you really were. And that's the sort of commitment that I try to continue to live by. Is I'm going to listen, I'm going to try and understand, and I'm going to do my best to do what's right, even if that means, saving 20 minutes from a staff meeting cost me an extra 3 hours.
Yeah. We've thrown you right into that, right? We've thrown you in.
There've been a couple 18, 19-hour days long.
Yeah. So we've thrown you right into that, and there's been some, I joke around when you walk back in the offices, you came back. Like, that's great. Like the last guy quit.
It's not an easy decision every day.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie to you.
But you've had to interact with some airmen that are hurting from a wound that, maybe I heard this the other day. There's 3 types of wounds, and one is a wound that is because something wasn't done.
Yes.
And I think we have airmen here that are like, well, this nobody asked me about this, or nobody cared about this, or no. The second type of wound is a wound because of something that was done. As you said this, you did this, it hurt me, And then the third wound, which is probably the hardest to overcome, is the wound of comparing ourselves to someone else.
Yes.
And so we've kind of thrown you into the mix with asking about these wounds and sometimes even having to make some notifications and some statements that may create some of these wounds. And so what do you want the Grissom team to know about you when when you show up there, you've got a job to do, or you just show up there? What should they know about you when they come in, when they're dealing with these wounds?
Yeah. So good question. And as I was trying to prepare and think about this, it's always like, what do you want to say, right? What message do you want to get out there? And one of the questions that comes up is like, well, what kind of leader are you? Yeah. And everybody says the same thing. Everybody says, I'm a servant leader.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell you what I mean when I say that. And maybe that'll help answer that question. What I mean when I say that is I'm going to take the time to listen. I'm going to be open. I'm going to be inclusive. I'm going to respect you and where you are coming from. And I'm going to do my absolute best to be compassionate. And I don't have to agree with you to be respectful and compassionate. I don't have to even understand you to be respectful and compassionate. I have had conversations here with airmen that I do not understand their perspective. And that's okay, because I respect it, and I'm going to treat them with respect and compassion.
And how important do you think that is to an airman that, is maybe driving past a couple other bases, or maybe they're just driving from Peru?
I can tell you it was important to me.
Yeah.
When we've talked about, counseling or notification sessions, that kind of thing. I've been on the other side of that desk, Brett. I wasn't perfect as a lieutenant. I wasn't perfect as a captain. But I had some leaders who looked at me, respected where I was coming from, acknowledged that I wasn't always going to be perfect, and gave me the opportunity to grow and improve as a human being, as an airman. And I try to do the same thing, because it wasn't that long ago in my mind, even though, you might look at my career narrative or whatever, and it might look like a long time ago to you. It doesn't feel like that long ago to me.
Yeah. I've been here a year. And I will tell you, I look back at this year that I've been here, and I'm like, man, I don't even understand my perspective,
right?
At some of these things.
It's a rough year.
Well, and I just, the decisions I made and how you roll in and it's you, when you're put in these positions, you have less and less time to get to know people, and before it's time to roll out a piece of discipline or a corrective action or something like that. And so one of the things I was just talking about in the hallway with one of our colonels is that they were talking about that was going to have to give some discipline to an airman. And I said, there's always this negative piece to it, right? Is I'm gonna hand out some discipline. But if you really think about it, you're someone, you guys don't have children yet, and it's like, but do you want to hang out with couples that have undisciplined children? Are those the couples you want to spend time with?
Right.
Are those the kids that you want to be around? Or do you want to be around those? And do those kids make great adults?
Right.
Or is it the people that are disciplined and that have had some corrective actions in those pieces? And it's one of the things that I've had the honor to get to watch with you, is just how that corrective action comes from a spot of compassion and a care for the direction that they're going. And in hopes that, hey, this works, so that we can both maybe someday sit down and be like, hey, remember that time
Right.
man, what was I thinking?
Right.
You know, like, and I look at that now, even with less than a year ago, you know, with those pieces.
Yeah. I think that a message that I've received in the past that I think is really powerful is how you treat the 1% is how you take care of the 99%. And sometimes that means, hey, it sounds like you've got some stuff going on. Let's go walk over and talk to Aaron. Let me walk you over and talk to Amy Little. Let's go talk to the chaplain. And I'm going to drop you off and make sure you're in the right place. And sometimes it's, hey, you aren't meeting the standard. And 99% of our airmen are. If I let this slide, I'm not taking care of them. If I walk past this, because what you walk past, you accept, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So you talked about Aaron there and our support staff that we have here to take care of us. Is that something that you use?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think sometimes people see us pushing that and they're like, yeah, but you know, do they trust those people?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've had a few really good discussions with both our chaplains, and I'll be talking to them about their programs, and it will turn into you know what? Hey, let's just take 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes. I think with Chaplain Campbell the other day, it was supposed to be a 5-minute meeting, right?
Yeah,
we were there to talk about his career.
That's what I remember this.
And I spent, I think it was 15 minutes. It might well have been 30. I think you had to pull me out of there, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Hey, I'm just going to unload some stuff on you.
Yeah.
You know, like we're here to talk about whether or not we're going to put you up for a position vacancy promotion.
Yeah.
But you need to hear all of what's going on in my life first.
Before we get to that, let me tell you my story.
And the same thing with Aaron. And, thankfully, I haven't had the opportunity to talk to Amy Little in her professional capacity as an individual need, but I've had some awesome conversations with her too, and I absolutely would. And she's just a great person to listen as well.
So this holiday season we're in, you've got Veterans Day, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. And kind of the wrap up of another year, we thought that, hey, 2020, let's just get through 20 and we'll get to 21, and 21 will be so much better. Right. And I think that's one thing I've not heard anyone say this year is let's just get to 22. It'll be,
I think we've learned that lesson.
I think people are like, let's get till tomorrow. Right. Let's get to tomorrow. But, what's the message that you have for our leaders, for our airmen and stuff like that as we wrap up this year? You end up spending about half the year with us. What's the message that you would have for them?
The message is thank you. We've asked a lot, we've demanded a lot, and we've gotten back a lot. And we're probably going to continue to ask a lot, and we're going to expect a lot, and we're going to get it. And we don't say thank you enough. So thank you.
I think that conversation about the helping agencies
is
one. So, and it just real quick, doesn't have to be on this. But so like I've had a conversation with Erin recently, like went to go see her. And even if it wasn't for me sitting down and talking with her, now I know, well, perfect example, talked to 2 people this weekend that I would just like, hey, look, I will sit here and listen all you want, but I'm not equipped to help you with this. However, I know who is.
Right. And
that's why I just feel like supervisors should, even if it's just like, hey, let's just sit down and BS for 15 minutes with her or any of the other helping agencies, so they know when somebody has a problem that they're not equipped to help them with.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the end of the conversation. It's numerous times I'll be like, Aaron, I need to talk to you about someone, or, hey, I'm sending this person over to you. Let me give you the Cliff Notes version of you know, what they're going through so that you're ready or whatever. And then it's like, she's like, okay, yeah, I got that. So how are you?
Oh yeah.
And then I'm like, I'm good. Well, are you good?
But that's
Like,
how
are you good? Like, are you?
So that's how I ended up seeing her talking about something else. We're on the phone. She asked that question. I, tell her a few things. She's like, I'm going to put you on my calendar. We come over and talk for a little bit. Yeah. Like, it had nothing to do with what we were talking about at that time.
And the thing is she doesn't get paid for the person.
No.
So she could have just very easily.
Oh, yeah.
You know? Yeah. And that was, Sergeant Roscoe was in my office earlier, and he was talking about another individual of, hey, what advice should I give in this situation, or what direction? I want to make sure I'm pointing people in the right direction and everything. And then he finishes up with, you doing all right, man? Yeah. Like we're dealing with a lot right now.
He does that very well too.
We go, yeah, it's so just, and the thing is it's easy to trust them because number one, they've never given us a reason not to.
Correct.
And two, it's easy to go to them because it's who they are. You know, I look at those people and, you know, it was when we hired Sergeant Moda to be a first sergeant, I'm like, whether we hire him into this position or not, he's still doing this job. Like, that's just who he is. Yeah. You know, it's who Erin is, whether she has a title like this or if her title was that she was the CSS clerk, right? Like she would still be doing this. Yeah. And and so that's what makes it so easy to do and them so successful at it is because that's just who they are. And it's, man, when you can get people, it's the right people doing the right things. And it just, it's so helpful. It's so helpful.
I think, like, you both made a really good point, right? Because there's a lot that supervisors can do.
Yeah.
And I had a conversation the other day where, one of our, I'm like, hey, are you okay? No. Okay. Good. Now we can have the conversation we need to have. Are you going to be okay? Do you have the support? Do you have a plan? Do you know where you're going from here? I'm like, yeah, I do. Like, okay, cool. So you kind of dropped some balls on the military side.
Yeah.
You didn't do some things. Like, yep, I know. And I didn't understand why everybody was mad at me until somebody sat down with me and like, oh, that. I have to submit the paperwork.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And that was not their intentions.
Right.
We get down to their perspective and you're like, okay.
Yeah.
I better understand.
And like you asked about my perspective, right? And part of my perspective is I'm going to start with the assumption that everybody's trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And I think I am right 99% of the time. Yeah. And that 1% of the time I'll deal with. Right. And it doesn't always look that way if you don't start with that perspective, right? Like, didn't do your fitness test, didn't submit the profile paperwork, didn't follow up with AMDS. Hey, maybe there's something going on in your life that's why you're not doing those things. And it turns out most of the time the answer is yes.
Yeah.
And what can I do? I can be like, well, hey, you got 30 days. Is that enough? Or do we need to do something else for you? Like, let me point you towards some resources.
Yeah.
But you never find that out unless you ask a question instead of, that's why paperwork with me, right, is always at least an hour conversation because there's something else going on. Always something else going on. And so, I mean, like, even to sit down and like, hey, before we even get into this, let's talk, like, what happened to get here?
Right.
And there's always something going on. And then if you have seen those other people in the helping agencies, now you know where to send someone. Basically, I had a really good UTA. So sorry if I'm rambling on, but it was like the first time that I actually felt like, even though everything that we were supposed to get done got done, but even if it didn't get done, because we're able to talk and get people, any sort of, even if it's just someone to listen to. This is the first time in at least a year that I've felt like, I'm driving home and I'm just like, I feel good about this week.
There's value in it, right? There's value in it. And that's the thing is it's taking care of people and taking care of, I love Simon Sinek talks about this all the time. Is he's like, there's a whole section in the library. If you go to the library, there's a whole section on self-help. Why isn't there a section on helping others? Because that section of helping others is really what helps you get through depression, hard times, to add value to your life, to add value to your career. I mean, you go home at the end of that UTA and you say, man, I crushed a lot of souls and whatnot, but guess what? Guess what, man, my day was good. No, it's you go home and when it's a good time, it's, man, I was able to help this person realize this piece. You were up here the day that the airman came up that he had just got his citizenship on Tuesday or whatnot. And he stopped by my office and he was so excited to tell me this. And I got so excited. And I'm like, hey, why did you just come over here just to tell me this? And he goes, yeah, because when I was looking for the right office to file my paperwork, you stopped what you were doing and helped me find the right office and made sure that those people were the right people for it. And I'm like, well, shouldn't we all do that? Like, right. But it was that I went home that night and I was telling my kids about it. And I'm like, but then we found another person that was trying to go through that process and was able to link those two up. And it's like the value of helping other people is probably the most, it's a pun or whatever you want to call it, undervalued opportunity that we have here is the value of helping other people. You want more value in your job, help other people do a good job. You want more value in which help other people get to where their goals are at, and that's where at the end of our career, we look at this and we say, okay, how is my career? Well, it's going to be all the people that you helped, not, hey, well, I got to this position was the pinnacle of my career. Well, how many people did you help? You're not going to look back and be like, I stepped on this many heads and hands to get to this point. These are all the people that I was able to help because of those opportunities.
Yeah. And I look at our core values, right? Mm-hmm. And we talk about service before self. And what I think that means is small s, service, right?
Yeah.
It's not putting the Air Force before yourself.
Right.
It's putting others before yourself.
Serving.
It's a sense of being a servant.
Yeah, that's good. That's real good. All right. I don't know how we got in that.
That was my fault. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But now here we go. All right, let's play. We'll do this and that, and then we'll do favorites because I got some good this and that that I really want you.
Let's do it.
And at the very end, I'm just going to prep you. The end, how we end all of these is we talk about what we're loving. Yeah. It could be anything. It could be anything from, hey, I got some new glasses to I got these new shoes or whatever you want to be, the weather, whatever. It's whatever you're loving right now, the thing that you're most excited about in your life. We'll talk about that at the end. So this or that. Here we go. Soda or tea?
Tea.
Sweet or unsweet?
Unsweet.
Okay. And it wouldn't let me put unsweet in there. It said unsweetened. Like I'm like, have I been saying that wrong my whole life? But it's unsweetened.
Well, if you're in the South, it's unsweet.
Yeah. If I said that
anywhere
somewhere,
else,
they would
it might
be like,
unsweetened.
Whatever. Yeah. So do you prefer seconds or dessert?
Seconds usually.
All right.
It drives Ellen nuts because she's a baker.
And I realized that I must have been hungry when I did this because like every other one's a food one. So
I'm prepared.
Get ready for that. Yeah, that's part of me being a fat kid. So ninjas or pirates?
Pirates.
Oh, okay.
Tough one.
That is a tough one. Yeah. City or country?
City most of the time.
Okay.
Well, it depends, but city.
All right. Salsa or queso?
Queso.
All right. History or art?
History.
Steak or pasta?
Pasta.
iOS or Android?
iOS. I'm switching soon, and I couldn't be more excited about it. I've had an Android for a while. I'm tired of it.
Tired. It just
It was
almost like I don't want to text you because it's green. It's like it offends me almost that your stuff is green on there. So
when
I can't wait for you to turn blue.
And as iOS and Android have progressed, I'm ready to go back.
We digressed. That was not a promotion for anyone in particular.
Yeah.
So
this is not the official position of the United States, the Department of Defense, or the United States government.
He puts that at the beginning. So 2% or whole milk?
Whole milk.
Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Bacon or sausage?
Yes.
Which one? Bacon or sausage?
Hey, man, I make enough money. I can have both.
Okay. All right.
If you force me, I'm going to take bacon.
All right. TV shows or movies?
Movies.
Forest or beach?
Oh, tough call. I want to pick both, but I'll take the forest.
Okay. Alone or in a crowd?
Alone.
Spring or fall?
Spring.
Cardio or weights?
Both again, but weights.
And here's the most important one. Cheeseburger or tacos?
Man, you can't make a choice. That's an impossible choice.
Cheeseburger or tacos?
Tacos.
This splits
Tacos.
our house. My home is divided over this.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right.
Cheeseburger tacos. There you go.
There you go.
They're classic Americana food.
I get an appetizer taco with a cheeseburger chaser. All right. All right. So let's play another one. We've never played this with anyone, but let's do a little thing called favorites. I'm going to list something. You tell me what your favorite is of those things. We'll start out simple, and then maybe we'll work our way into something a little more difficult. All right. Color.
I don't know.
You don't know your favorite color?
I don't.
I would say silver or gray. It's because you're promoting a lot of it right now.
Yeah.
If you're playing along at home and you can't see, it's got a lot of gray hair.
Let's go with orange.
Orange?
Yeah.
Oh,
Rescue orange.
Okay, really?
Yeah.
Is there a reason behind that?
There is. Yeah. So it is the color of doing aggressive things that involve a significant amount of risk with an element of safety.
Wow.
So it's I actually had a good answer for this.
You did?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
Man, all right. Wow, that makes kind of the rest of these. Huh? All right, your favorite drink?
I should have a good answer here. I don't.
Martini, shaken, not stirred. Stirred, not shaken.
I love a good old fashioned.
Okay.
When I'm having a cocktail.
All right.
Yeah.
Favorite food?
Pizza, New York style. Now, I don't know.
Favorite movie?
Princess Bride.
Oh, really? All right. I did officiated a wedding last month, and I started with marriage. Yeah. So it was
Excellent.
So, favorite music artist?
Jason Isbell.
Favorite song?
We Were Vampires. If We Were Vampires.
Favorite sports team?
I'm going to go with the USC Gamecocks.
Favorite command chief? I was hoping you would just name someone else as quickly as possible, and I was going to just move on from it.
Oh man,
this just got really awkward.
Yeah, but I'm looking right at you.
Yeah, that's fine. Chiefy is fine. I'll go with that.
I tell you what, I've been blessed with great command chiefs at the squadron group and wing level everywhere I've been. So yeah,
I appreciate you saying that, especially since I'm in the room.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie to your face in this particular instance.
Favorite thing you own?
Favorite thing I own? I don't know. That's a tough one. I'm not sure.
You're about to move, so you're going to figure that out real quick.
Yeah.
Because there'll be something that you're like, nobody else is going to move this.
As of like 2 weeks ago, I own a home. So that's my
Okay. All right.
That's new for me. I haven't owned a place to live since like 2010.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Favorite piece of art?
Ellen's got one that she bought. It's simple. It's just a DC flag, but love that. It's kind of like, that's our place. That's where we met.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a real pretty piece of art.
Favorite job?
This one. And I hope that's always true.
Yeah.
Right? It's like when you talk to pilots, what's your favorite airplane? It's the one I'm flying right now.
Well, that was my next question.
Yeah.
Favorite airplane?
Yep.
What are you flying right now?
KC-135 and the 737. Okay. I got two favorites.
So if we go to the KC-46, then wouldn't you be?
That will probably be my new favorite.
Yeah. So, favorite quote?
You said you weren't going to ask this because
I decided.
I love it. I love it. I'm not going to get it 100% right. But there's a quote from Field Marshal Slim, who was a World War II British leader in the China-Burma-India theater. And he said something along the lines of it's good for the morale of your men to occasionally see a dead general. And what I take from that is a couple of things. One, your leaders should assume risk, and they should assume risk on behalf of the force. And two, we aren't always going to get it right, and sometimes that's going to hurt. And when it hurts, it should hurt the leaders as much as the people they're leading, at least. And if we can make it hurt more, we'd rather take more of the hurt and pass on more of the good.
Favorite place on earth?
Home. Wherever my wife is.
Favorite thing to do?
So, spending time with my wife, spending time with my nieces and nephews, and getting outside, whether it's in nature or on the water.
And then last, what are you loving?
I'm gonna give the cheesy answer, and then I'm gonna give you another answer. So the cheesy answer is I'm loving Grissom. I'm loving this team. I'm loving this place. I'm loving this sense of mission and sense of unity and the cohesion we have and the leaders that I get to work with, and at every level, right? Like our airmen are leaders, our NCOs are leaders, our commanders are leaders, all up and down the chain. And then I've got a good one to throw out. There's a audiobook I just finished. Recommended it to Colonel Pemberton the other day. Malcolm Gladwell, The Bomber Mafia. Okay. And
I like Malcolm Gladwell.
Yeah.
One of my favorite artists ever, or authors ever.
Yeah. So what he looks at is prior to the inception of the Air Force as a independent service, the airmen that led our force through World War II and how their ideas about strategic bombing developed, and then how they handled the hard questions that came about when. So what they wanted to do, the idea of the bomber mafia was high altitude precision bombing to make war shorter and less destructive by hitting the key points. Exactly the sort of thing that we've been able to do in more recent conflicts as the technology progressed. So it was an idea ahead of their time. And then when that didn't work, when they discovered the jet stream over Japan, which nobody had even theoretically predicted, and they couldn't get bombs within miles of their targets, what do you do? And then in comes Curtis LeMay, one of the most storied combat commanders of that war, problem solver, not a big intellectual.
Yeah.
Nobody really accused him.
Some of those people describe me.
Yeah.
Nobody's not a big intellectual.
Yeah.
That's why you shake your head. Yes, Josh.
I'm not.
Yes.
Nobody's accusing LeMay of being a philosopher, right? And that's what led to the firebombing in Japan, the use of napalm. And when he talks about it, he also wanted to make war less terrible. And he wanted to make it less terrible by making it shorter, which means making it more terrible in the short term. So it was just a beautiful, stepping outside of the current moment and looking at really hard ethical and moral decisions and how some of the leaders in our past did that. And, that part of the conclusion is, I don't know if there's any right way.
Yeah.
and that, yeah. So I love that. It's really good. If you do the audiobook version, which I highly recommend, it's got a bunch of archival footage.
Yeah.
It's got archival footage of LeMay, General Hansel. Yeah. It's got some audio of David Goldfein and some of the other
That's awesome.
More modern leaders. It's great.
He wrote my favorite book is Talking to Strangers. But I would say what I'm loving right now is I'm getting ready to head and do a couple speaking engagements. I love that that's back open with COVID. And I'm also listening to You Are Worth It by Kyle Carpenter, a Marine that was blown up. And I would tell you that it's a phenomenal book. And especially it goes to if you've ever been said, and someone's told you thank you for your service and you don't know what to say, it adds a whole new element of telling people you are worth it. And I've been trying it, and it's great. It changes people's, it makes you appreciate their statement more, as well as them appreciate your service more.
I've been trying to do the same thing. I don't always remember.
Yeah.
But it does. It makes them pause, right?
Yeah.
Because our service is not about us.
Yeah.
So it's got to be about them.
Yep. So, Josh, what are you loving?
Oh, put me on the spot.
Yeah.
Let me know. I've got to do this. That's all right. I kind of figured you were going to do that, so I'd already thought about it. And this is a shout out for Doug, because what I'm loving right now is that Purdue won last night and Kentucky lost. And I feel like there's going to be a whole lot more of that through the entire basketball season. So I'm going to enjoy this while I can, because it's not often that Purdue's better than Kentucky. So
there it is. That's good.
Awesome.
Well, sir, we appreciate you coming on here and you talking with us. Appreciate your insight. Most people don't get to see this, but I appreciate your sarcasm and the jokes and being able to have fun up there in the front office when sometimes the situations we're in are not fun. Right. But understanding that we're working with great men and women and seeing your passion and knowing that everything you said here was the truth, and that I didn't have to say, hey, let's edit that out. Right. And so, sir, we appreciate you. Welcome to Grissom, I guess.
Thank you.
And thanks for being here.
Thanks. You're worth it.
All right. Hopefully you enjoyed that. I love real conversations. And that's one thing that we feel like that this podcast is doing, is getting you guys a better look at who we are as leaders and seeing that we struggle just like you guys struggle. And it's okay. It's sometimes, I think Colonel Kuehn says it best, is sometimes it's okay when you ask somebody, hey, are you okay? And they're like, no, I'm not. That's okay. Like, can we get you the help that we need? How do we get you there? Can we walk with you? I tell this to people all the time. I just said it last night to a guy that told me he was getting ready to go, or he was going through a divorce. And I said, man, I can't tell you a lot about life, and there's no real guarantees, but I can guarantee you this, and I can tell you this, is we're not meant to do this alone. This is a team sport. This is a team effort. And I know a lot of times when it comes from leaders and, hey, that we care about you, we want to take care of you and all this stuff, it just sounds like a cheesy, just kind of BS. And I want you to see that we are real individuals that really care about you, that really care about your well-being, that we take these decisions that we have to make very seriously, and it weighs on us. It's been a stressful time up in the front office with all the COVID vaccine stuff, the suicide. Man, that hit us so hard. It hit us hard, and to know that our people are hurting, and we hurt, and it's just, we love the resources that are here, to where when we're hurting or whether you're hurting, is we can walk through this together and we can get each other the help that we need, and continue down this great journey that we're all on. So, and I hope that December UTA is phenomenal for you. I hope this puts a cap on the year, that you're like, hey, this is the best UTA we've had all year, and that we start looking forward to 2022. I think we kind of learned a lesson back in 2019 where we're like, well, or 2020 where we're like, hey, 2021 gets here, things are going to be different.
Yeah, that's my year.
Nobody's really talking about 2022 right now. We're all quietly trying to hope that we don't jinx ourselves. But let's look forward to it, and we got a lot lot on the plate. You should have a lot going on in your area, whether it's parties, whether it's getting the mission done. There's a lot of DNTF members that are out there right there, the development and training flight. They should be in your areas this UTA. Sergeant Saunders is doing a great job with them. If you see them out running around the base, stop and say hi and introduce yourselves. Those are our next generation warriors. But it really embrace each other, check each other out, make sure that we're doing all right. Spend a little extra time with each other. Don't be so quick to sign out and just get away from everybody or anything like that. Is spend a little extra time. This quarterly awards are coming due, so. If you've done something, maybe remind that supervisor, hey, I don't know if you remember this, but I was pretty awesome this quarter. And this is, let me help you out with this and give them some great bullets. Annual awards are coming up. All those dates are out there. You start thinking about if you're looking for a step promotion or anything like that. Now's the time to really start working on that. But truly from our heart to yours, man, we are thankful for what you guys have accomplished this year with all of the adversity that has hit us. We are proud that you guys continue to show up here on a volunteer basis and come out here and serve at Grissom. And man, I tell you, this is a great time of year around here. The leaves I think have all fallen now, but it's a beautiful time out here. The sunrises and sunsets are gorgeous. And take a moment and stop, slow down a little bit this UTA and just be grateful for what we have here. So we look forward to getting out there and seeing you guys, and have a great UTA.